Hey guys, welcome to this episode of the Go Mango Watch Along. That's not what this is. It is our review of Mashin Sentai Kiramager episode 5. As always, I'm your host, Stratos. Here with me today we have
Cinder Blaze.
And Makotoa.
dudes, welcome back. We got done watching this episode yesterday. We are actually on time this time, so that we could read your comments at the end of this video. But before that, let's dive into our thoughts. And I thought this was a wonderful, wonderful episode. It was a yellow focus. It's something I've been needing. It really endeared me to him in a way that I did not think the show would be able to. And they didn't shy away from saying that Yellow does have leadership skills and he can hold his own. They didn't nerf him in any way to make him look like he was lesser than Red in any shape. And in this episode, even though Red did not stand in the spotlight, that's where he needed to be in order to make sure that Yellow shined, and that's who he is as a leader. So I feel like both of their leadership sensibilities really got to play a part in how well this episode worked.
Yeah, and I think one thing I really liked about this episode was it hit me in a way I didn't expect it to. Like the way that
Yeah, really. It hit Corey in a way. I know that.
Yeah, like the whole backstory with like him and his grandpa and how it mirrors like his relationship with his like current like Kira Stone. I thought that was pretty neat because like we didn't really have an episode that kind of like goes into the bond between the Stone and the Ranger, and like they do kind of make some pretty like decent points about like, hey, you guys are like total opposites, and we've already know like Yellow's been like one of the louder Stones because of like his personality and stuff.
Yeah.
And for him to kind of go out of his way and like make a team just because like he likes his partner that much, I found it pretty endearing. Like
But yeah, I like it was the whole backstory and what Yellow was doing, sort of like to honor the memory of his grandpa with the Yellow Kirame Stone. That's really what got me. It's like it's really hard to put into words, but like I absolutely loved just the way that he appreciates his time with the Yellow Kirame Stone, and sort of like is at least attempting to get back some of that lost time he had with his grandpa or something similar. And at least he now knows the error of his ways about being a little piece of shit.
Oh my gosh. Can we talk about how, like, they did not need to take that as far as they did?
They didn't, but I don't know. Like, it, yeah,
Even
they
Green
absolutely did.
Yeah, even Green was like, oh, wow, that's pretty tragic there.
Yeah. But like it just drives the point home that you should cherish those you love, and not really treat them horribly like Yellow did.
Oh yeah, for real.
And it serves as a great reminder to call your grandparents.
Okay.
So dude, if you have the option, call your grandparents.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about Red's treatment this episode? Like I know you went over it like briefly, but Michael,
I wasn't
what are your
happy
thoughts
that
on
he got fooled so easily, or that we watched him get duped by Yellow's crystal. That was the only part I wasn't so happy about, was that he like just kind of went along with it. He's like, oh, why do I have to keep this a secret from the others? Like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, I don't think that's great on Red, considering he's supposed to be the leader.
Yeah, but they didn't really have any repercussions to any of that, which
No.
I honestly forgot about until like we're just like talking about it right now, where they What?
Yeah, for real. I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Yeah, like they said that, you can't do that or else something might, or they're not ready for it or something like that.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, I guess they're like a bit more immature for rocks, but like personally, I don't see like the big deal about this. I honestly expected them to like shoot off and make their own little Zord with the yellow Kira Stone as like the
As the
centerpiece.
main. Ooh, that would have been cool.
But that would have been, contradictory to the entire point of this episode.
That's true.
So I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? I'll forgive them.
But yeah, I like Alex was saying, I didn't really have an issue with Red getting duped because um what what reason does he have to sort of doubt the yellow Kirame stone? You know what I mean? And he's nice. And it doesn't seem like too big of a, I guess,
Considering in the last episode we just saw Red like pretty much suspicious of the uncle and
Garza.
catch on to that pretty quick. The fact that he got duped so easily this episode, it just didn't work for me.
But
I
when
mean,
it's
like
so low stakes and someone he
It
already
is low
does,
stakes, but I don't know. It was a
well, like
consistency thing.
he already knows like the Cure Stone, and he's been having nightmares about Garza for a while.
yeah.
So like,
All right. Mm-hmm.
So I
I'll give
guess
you
they
that.
did sort of have a little bit of a history without him really knowing. I did absolutely love the idea that those are like not yet ready Kirame stones, and that if you're a kid and you wanted to be a Kiramager, you could definitely pretend one of those was your Zords. Like it doesn't have a
Yeah.
ranger assigned, and they noted that you probably could once they're matured. So I
Mhm.
think it works out perfectly. Um, let's see. What did we think about Yellow's plot to go and sort of dupe the yellow Kirame stone?
I mean, if it works, it works. I mean, he did it in his own way, which
Yeah.
like he
Yeah.
was kind of taking responsibility over his own
Mhm.
actions, so it kind of makes sense for Red not to, be the one to start the plan and instigate it. Like he
Yeah,
did
yeah.
help, and I guess like that villain wasn't really doing much, so they could afford to kind of like goof off during that battle. Like he was tamed pretty easily.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
uh, um,
No, I mean, I love the idea that he did. I mean, like, I get, definitely shouldn't lie to people, but I also get, giving maybe one of your elderly a slightly different but better outlook on life. You know what I mean? Like, not being
no,
entirely truthful, but like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
no.
So there was this one time where like Uh, toward the end, I bought my grandpa a nice water bottle. And he loves a good deal, so I basically lied to him and said, "Oh yeah, I got it for $5. It was a really great deal." Just to give him something happy. I don't know, just to get them on board.
Remember, kids, don't be mean to your grandparents, but totally lie to them.
I
It
mean,
makes them happy.
if it makes them happy, honestly, if it makes them happy.
Oh my gosh. Honestly, not honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was honestly kind of like interested in seeing a little bit more of the esports side of Yellow's
Yeah.
background,
Didn't really get a lot
but
of that.
I think like for this episode we just kind of like switched to different stuff as opposed to like their um their character trait essentially.
Well,
And
I
I
mean,
think we're gonna get
I like how they framed it in a way to show his leadership skills because I didn't realize he had a team. So that was a layer that I didn't really expect. And when we got it, I was like, oh,
Hmm.
that's why he's so capable. He
Yeah.
exercises this every so often, every time he's doing his
Competing.
job.
Yeah. But I guess like for Pink's focus episode next week, like I don't think we're gonna be focusing on her doing surgery or whatnot. It's gonna be its own shtick, but it's a Pink episode, so it's gonna be like, all right, grab a random idea out of this hat, wipe it in some shit, just throw it at the camera. So
I will say I am a little disappointed that like she's not 100% and she gets like hit with whatever problem of the week. But I guess that happened to Blue as well, and he overcame it. So I'm interested to see. Well, like for Blue, it did it in a way to challenge his character. In Pink, it kind of looks like you get a character reset for a little bit, and then you sort of just fix it throughout the episode. So I'm wondering what that would lead to. Maybe like some childhood trauma again. And
you know how Lupin Blue had a lot of gag episodes later on in the series?
Yeah.
Because, he was like the super serious character type. Now imagine if we just started with a gag episode with him before we even establish his character. Like, that's what it kind of feels like for me. But
That's
who
right.
knows? This series has had a good track record so far, so
Yeah.
I'm still a little hopeful.
Oh, I'm very hopeful.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, let's dive into those comments that you guys left. So we got two. We got one from Yuki Miyazaki. Man, this episode really touched me on a personal level. Can't believe they did this on a kids show. Anyway, this week's episode was really good and fun with Joystick Marksman, Mars Command, and Chavello childish action just to make Tametomo the leader, which understandable on my viewpoint. Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, if he is taking that sort of grandfather-like role, even though it's overboard, he's still doing it for the sake of Yellow, and I really like that. Then we get back to his backstory, which is just touching, man. A very selfish kid that didn't care about anything but his own world is just too good for a kids show. Interesting that they reused the Marsk Man. I'm never gonna get used to saying the name of these guys. Marsk Man Beast again in this episode from episode 1, with the only difference being the mask that the machine used for getting dolls on. Really fun way to utilize the new machine too, although a tad bit ridiculous sometimes, but a way to brighten the episode after the feels. Overall, pretty fun and entertaining episode. Yet again, from Sentai, I hope they make Pink Focus episode good too. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, cool. We got one from Double the Unknown who says, "Wow, that was a traumatizing backstory for Tamatomo.
For real.
It was pretty obvious there was going to be an episode about Tamatomo deserving to lead, but I liked how they presented the idea through Chavello. This show continues to find ways to impress me." Yeah, I absolutely love how they didn't make him a bitter ranger for not being chosen as leader, and still gets to exhibit leadership skills and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like something that isn't said too often, but like, a key to good leadership is to know when to take the back seat and let someone else lead. So I think that works out really well for this character. Yeah. All right, cool. Guys, do you have anything else you wanted to say before we end this episode?
I'm good.
All right, cool. This is one of the shorter reviews we've done in a while. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. If you like this episode, hit that like button and subscribe if you want to hear more from us each week. Tell us in the comments down below what you thought about our thoughts about your thoughts about this episode. And hey, keep it juicy.
Yeah. See you.
Later.
Michael is suspicious. You got Wendy's?
My parents brought it for me.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did you get that 4 for $4? Oh no, you got the chili, didn't you?
Oh no, it didn't even cross.